to give us more details on the officer-involved shooting from Saturday night.
Good morning. First, let me say that any loss of life is tragic, and we at the Los Angeles Police Department understand that some of our communities are so severely impacted by violence, including use of force by police, that this tragedy is compounded to a degree that sometimes seems unbearable. Because of this, I've deployed my Community Relationship Division, many of my senior lead officers, and much of my command staff to the affected areas to try to help them get through this. We're here today to discuss two officer-involved shootings that occurred over the weekend. Both shootings occurred in what we have deemed our CSOC area, which is the areas most severely impacted by violent crime, specifically gun crime, in the city of Los Angeles. The first shooting occurred on Saturday at about 12:50 p.m. when officers assigned to our Metropolitan Division were in the area of 108th Street and Western. They saw a light blue Nissan Altima with paper plates. Their attention was attracted to the vehicle because of the paper plates, and that the paper plates didn't match the year of the vehicle, so they were suspect that it may be a stolen vehicle. As their attention was fixed to the vehicle, they observed an individual seated in the rear of the vehicle who was later identified as Cornell Snell, who looked in their direction and then ducked down as if to hide from them. They pulled in behind the vehicle and began to follow. The vehicle slowed, and as the officers activated their emergency equipment, the vehicle slowed to the degree that Cornell Snell exited the vehicle, holding his waistband as if he was supporting something. The officers believed, due to their experience and his prior actions, the fact that we have had almost 450 people shot in our CSOC neighborhoods, many of them in drive-by shootings, many of them by people in vehicles with paper plates used to conceal the nature of the vehicle, the ownership of the vehicle. They believe that he may be holding a handgun. Because of this belief, they went in foot pursuit. They chased him as he ran from the car. At one point during their foot pursuit, which was 200 to 300 yards in total, they observed him remove a handgun from his waistband and hold it in his left hand. He ran into a driveway in the 1700 block of 107th Street, and while holding the handgun in his left hand, he turned in the direction of the pursuing officers, at which time an officer-involved shooting occurred. A total of 6 rounds were fired, and Cornell Snell was sent to the pavement. Los Angeles Fire Department paramedics responded and determined that he was deceased. A loaded semi-automatic handgun was found near Snell's body, no more than 5 feet away. Force Investigation Division detectives responded, and we are still awaiting the results of the autopsy so that we can get bullet trajectory on the impacts. The preliminary information is that Snell was struck twice, once in the torso and once in the knee. Picture of the handgun recovered, not in a state of recovery, but in an unloaded state, is to my right. It is a 40mm handgun. It was fully loaded with one in the chamber. The officers assigned to Metropolitan Division were not equipped with body-worn video, as it has not been deployed in their division at this point, nor do they have a digital in-car video. But we have obtained video from a local business that clearly shows Snell in possession of a handgun as he was being pursued by the officers. As a matter of fact, it shows him holding it in his left hand. The second officer-involved shooting occurred in Newton Division. Newton Division gang enforcement officers were in the area of 48th Street and Ascot. They had responded to a radio call, a citizen report of a man with a gun. The man from the radio call was described as a male, Hispanic, wearing a gray sweater, black pants, and armed with a handgun, possibly a Beretta. Around 5 p.m., the two officers were still in the area looking for the source of the radio call when they saw a person matching that description. As the officers approached the male to initiate a pedestrian stop, the male turned and pointed a handgun at the officers, at which time there was an officer-involved shooting. Los Angeles Fire Department responded and transported the male to a local hospital where he failed to respond and died. Investigators recovered a handgun at the scene of the officer-involved shooting. The handgun recovered at the scene is pictured in the lower frame. It is a replica handgun. It is not an actual firearm. It is a replica handgun that has had the orange tip colored by black paint or black felt pen in order to conceal the fact that it is a replica. The officers in this instance were equipped with body-worn video. I have viewed that body-worn video this morning. It clearly supports the officers' prior statements and versions of this incident, and it clearly refutes any reports that that Mr. Snell, that this individual, not Mr. Snell, this individual, because this individual is unidentified at this point, was shot while he was laying on the ground. That did not happen. We have not identified this individual at this point. We are working with the coroner's office to do so. If anybody is aware of his identity, we ask you to contact the Los Angeles Police Department. And with that, we will take brief questions. Understand that both these investigations are fluid and ongoing. Many facts are not known yet. The facts that I am absolutely sure of, I have given you. So with that, I'll take a few questions.
Chief, there's a big disconnect between what your department has said about some of these shootings and what some people in the community believe about some of these shootings. Some people say that they don't believe that these people were carrying guns and don't seem to care that even if they were carrying guns, said that police shouldn't have shot them. What is your response to that kind of disconnect between the way officers see these shootings and the way some people in the community do?
Well, of course, that is a very difficult issue, and that issue I think is compounded by events that have occurred across the country. Certainly we have all seen police-involved shootings that defy justification in other municipalities. I've seen them where I'm at a loss to understand why. I think that affects what happens on the streets of Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Police Department has struggled to reduce violence, particularly in the neighborhoods where these officer-involved shootings occurred. As I said, almost 450 people have been shot in these neighborhoods this year. We are doing our absolute best to take guns out of the hands of those that would use them against others. And sometimes that leads to circumstances where Los Angeles police officers are put into peril and have to defend themselves. And certainly, in both these instances, the officers feared for their lives because of the actions of the individuals that they were pursuing.
Chief, did Snell fire? Can you respond to that?
It does not appear that he did, Dave. The weapon is, as you can see, is fully loaded. It is at capacity. One was in the chamber, and the magazine was fully loaded, so he did not fire.
Were officers aware that he had just gotten out of jail for assault with a deadly weapon?
Well, I am sure they were not. I'm sure that they. I have no information which would make me think they recognized Snell as an individual.
Chief, you've seen the reaction of many people in our communities here. They seem to be frustrated, and they're expressing that in all these vigils and the protests that we have seen. A lot of them are demanding that they want to see videos if they're available. Will you make those videos available?
Of course, this is a national conversation about videos, and there is we try to balance transparency and accountability, and the public's desire to know, and then we also want to maintain the integrity of the criminal justice system. As early as this morning, I had conversations with our district attorney Jackie Lacey about this exact issue. We are working, not only Jackie, but the police commission and I, on protocols where at the right time a totality of evidence could be released rather than just piecemeal it and release the video without things like the coroner's report, without things like witness statements, without things like ballistics, without the serology of DNA. It's the totality of the investigation that we want to bring forward to the public, because the reality is that we seek the truth, and video is part of the truth, but it is not the totality of the truth, and it has to be tempered with all the evidence. So we're looking for the right way at the right time. You know, we see it done at different stages throughout the country, you know, and so we not only look at that to be advised by that, but we also look at the laws of the state of California, the desires of our district attorney that we not release this till they've made their filing decision, and trying to strike that balance. You know, I think that, but what I would like to say is this. This is a chief, I'm a chief that has always been honest with the public. If I see a shooting that I think is bad, then I say so. You know, and I try to put forward the facts of occurrence as best I can in a way that I think is fair to the public. You know, if I see a shooting